Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show today, episode 191. It's Friday, December 7th. I'm your host, Kellen. With me, Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Tim here.
We're moving a little slow this morning. It's early. Also, before we get going too crazy here, anyone live in the chat, please let us know how the audio sounds. YouTube's giving us some weird signals saying things aren't great, but they should be great. So anyway, let us know before we get going too far here. But on this episode, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Actually, it could be a short-ish show, but there's some big topics we want to touch on. And then we also obviously have trivia at the end of the show. Sponsor this week, Tautronics is giving away 5 of their active noise-canceling Bluetooth headphones, the over-ear kind, the big kind, that like this style. So you took them like on a trip recently, right, to Hawaii or something like that, and you were like, they're great.
Yeah, took them on a long flight. It's like a 6-hour flight, and boy, what impressed me the most was the active noise canceling. It just shut out the jet engine, and I did not have great seats on this flight. I'm like right next to the jet, and sounded was good, and the audio quality is great, and the battery life was pretty extraordinary. So I'm loving these headphones. I'm loving Tautronics. Hook me up.
Yeah, so we've got 5 of those bad boys to give away during trivia at the end of the show. If you're new around here, just stick around after the topics. We got stuff to give away. So, well, I guess before we dive into the topics, we already have 5 donations. Before we even got started, you guys are crazy. Alex dropped $5. Lars dropped 20. We don't actually know what that is. Lars, if you're still here, what is that currency?
What is R?
Yeah, what is R? And then Ryan Kurt 007 dropped 20 Indian rupees, I believe, and he said, "Happy Friday. Hope Kellen remembers the currency." So hopefully I got that right. Also, Lars said weekend, which Tim and I say just about every Thursday when we're done working. Yeah. Not that we're not working today. We just kind of do that thing. All right, so for show topics, though, Android security patch for December dropped. Normally, we don't spend a lot of time on it, but this was kind of a big-ish one. It was the big bug fixer from Google already. Qualcomm had a big week. They announced Snapdragon 855. We also got lots of 5G talk. There's lots of Google messaging stuff to clear up. Last show, when we left you, Hangouts was apparently going away forever. Since then, Google's tried to clarify some other stuff. And Tim has a product that has long been a star of the show, yet has never been on the show. And it's on his, I think it's on your wrist right now.
Special guest.
Oh my God. The special guest is here. Anyone know what that is in the chat? We'll get to that. It is a watch, and it should be great to hear your thoughts. So anyway, let's dive into December Android security patch talk. So you guys know every single month Google releases a security patch for their Nexus and Pixel phones. At this point, we are still getting a couple of Nexus 6P and 5X, and then old Pixel C still getting some security patches. But Pixel 3, 3XL, 2XL, Pixel XL, they all get updates every single month still. This one in particular should have fixed a couple of things we've kind of been complaining about. The number one thing on the list says improved memory performance in certain circumstances. So I think we're hoping that addresses some of the RAM management issues possibly that we were running into, where the phone just wasn't holding apps in memory for very long. To be honest, I haven't tested, so I don't really know. I'm surprised there isn't like 10 videos on YouTube that are like, look at how long these are in memory. So that happened though. So if that has actually fixed, let us know if you're seeing performance improvement there. It is kind of weird to see the 2 and 2XL on there, because nobody has ever complained, I don't think, have they, about the 2 and 2XL. So camera improvements, notification visibility on the Pixel stand improvements, improved Android Auto compatibility. So Android Auto has always been, is the stream down or just one guy?
I don't think so. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So Android Auto has been really janky on Pixel phones from basically the beginning, which is odd because it's Google's phones and then Android Auto is Google's product. I know it's installed on a car that's not theirs, but it says they improved the compatibility. I don't know what that means. All I know is that my Pixel 2 used to rapid charge in my car, and then but it used to crash all the time. And so Google then toned that back so that it must have been like limiting current. And so then it went all the way back to charging slowly. Like we went from rapid charging slow. And then I got Pixel 3, same thing, charging slowly. And with this update now, it just charges now. So we're not rapid, we're not slow, we're back to just charging, which is better than slowly. So I don't know if that's what they're talking about there. But there's some other camera tweaks. Pixel Stand has improved hot word performance, improved always on display trigger. I mean, like the list is just pretty long. Yeah, for a monthly security patch, this feels much bigger than just a typical monthly security patch. So if you haven't gotten that, you can get it on your Pixel 3 and 2. It's not out for the Pixel yet, right? And the Pixel XL, the OGs, or are they?
It is out now.
Oh, okay. There was like a delay though, right? Just like there was
a 24-hour delay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the same thing happened in November. Actually, November's was a little bit longer of a delay. So everyone should have the update. You should go get it. I don't think it's that big of an update, so don't worry about having plenty of battery and Wi-Fi and all that crap. And these updates install in the background anyway. Just a quick reboot and you should be done. So. Did you get the updates?
I got the update like 5 hours or 5 minutes after we posted it, and I must have been like the first, which has never happened in the history of my Android career, where I like got an update as soon as it went live.
Does that mean the tap the update button is actually working again? Because I feel like it works 1 month and then for 3 months it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I did. I checked to see if there was an update, and it said, it's paused for a second. It was thinking about it, and then it was like, yeah, I guess you do have an update. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. I said, all right. All right. All
right, so a couple people are still saying they might have some audio issues. And the only reason I really worry about that is when we get to trivia. But everything's fine. Picture froze, sound gone, people are refreshing, it's back. I'm not really sure. Is everything good? Is everything good? Some
if
people
we could
are
do like
yeah,
a live poll in the chat, that would be nice, but
yeah, YouTube should add that. All good, working great, everything fine. Audio and video are fine. All right, we're gonna go.
If you are having troubles, just refresh maybe a couple of times, something. So
yeah, YouTube really was giving us some weird signals this morning that they don't ever usually give us. So not sure what's up there. Anyways, all right, we'll just keep going. So. Yeah, the December update's there. You should grab it. I grabbed it on. Well, I have a T-Mo SIM in the 3XL and a Verizon SIM in the 3, and both had it. I mean, I was on vacation when the update dropped, but I think I updated like the next morning just by randomly checking. And that was the first time I had checked. So anyway. All right, Qualcomm's big week. Let's talk a little bit about Qualcomm. So Qualcomm has this yearly 3-day trip to, I should say, press event in Hawaii, where they fly a bunch of press out and they announce, a new Snapdragon processor, basically. I'm still not sure why. Yeah, the 3-day party. I'm still not sure why we need a 3-day party to announce a chipset.
We don't.
But okay, yeah, we definitely do not. But they do this every year. It's like their thing now. And I get it. They don't make flashy phones to get people excited about. So they're like, let's fly a whole bunch of people out to Hawaii and get them really liquored up to talk about Snapdragon stuff, which is, whatever. They've certainly stolen headlines this week. So Snapdragon 855 is the follow-up to the 845, which is in all of the phones that have come out this last year. The 855 will arrive in all of the big phones next year because we live in a world where basically Qualcomm is the only one that makes a processor for any major phone in the US. Whether you like that or not, I'll let you decide. So 855 is here, and let's see. We'll just run through some of the improvements. They've upgraded the GPU, Adreno 640 now. The Cryo processors now are 485 CPUs, I should say. Cool. Supports Quick Charge 4 Plus. I mean, this stuff is like the least exciting stuff to talk about ever. It obviously supports 5G and Snapdragon's X50 5G modem. Let's see. In terms of like Wi-Fi and connectivity, you could see 67% better power efficiency, which is actually a pretty big deal. That's obviously one of the biggest issues we've got going is bad connectivity, drain your battery. So hopefully if you have good connectivity, we should see much less. I mean, 67% is actually somewhat significant. In terms of performance, we're talking 45% performance boost over the Snapdragon 845. That seems fairly significant as well. The weird thing there is phones are really fast and they have been for a while. So I don't even know if like a 45% performance boost will notice just in day-to-day usage. We're talking more about like the heavy lifting stuff, I'd imagine. But either way, they didn't say 10%, they said 45. So that seems like a significant jump. They have a new Hexagon 690 processor in there that processes all the AI stuff. So when you shout the Google keyword or hot word at your phone with an A55, hopefully it responds faster and processes all the stuff you want to do faster and things like that. They support a whole bunch of new camera stuff. It's like dual 22 megapixel cameras with 30 frames per second video. Actually, that could be still shots. I'm not really sure. Or single 48 megapixel camera at 30 FPS. It supports 4K 60 frame per second HDR portrait mode, which sounds cool. Slow-mo video at 720p and 480 frames per second. There's some 8K VR support in there, HDR 10 plus video playback, and of course, like their aptX audio codec is there and all that stuff. So this is all pretty dry, boring stuff, but it is going to be the processor in your next flagship phone, assuming you buy one next year. Built on 7 nanometer, again, 5G. It does support Wi-Fi 6, which is like the new Wi-Fi standard. So you get super fast Wi-Fi, which I actually appreciate as someone who's constantly at home on Wi-Fi. So that's actually kind of a big deal. What else is there to talk about? We'll get to some of the 5G stuff in a little bit, but...
Did you talk about the ultrasonic?
Oh, no, I didn't really talk about ultrasonic. That's right. It has support for ultrasonic fingerprint readers. Yeah. I haven't really looked into that much, to be honest.
Well, it's great because if you got that, the oily fingers, the Cheeto grease, it's going to read right through that and basically, take an entire 3D image of your finger and not just sort of a 2D image as, say, like what the OnePlus 6T is doing. So it's a huge step in terms of smartphone security.
Well, yeah, because the OnePlus 6Ts is really terrible, so I'm ready for a change.
Yeah.
That's exaggerating a little bit, but...
Yeah, shots fired early.
Hey, we'll talk about OnePlus in a little bit. So, GPU 20% performance improvement there in the GPU department. Didn't mention that. 3 days for this.
Yeah, I really hate how Qualcomm, I don't know if anyone else had to endure day one of the Snapdragon Tech Summit. Oh lordy! You had that AT&T executive on there, the Verizon executive, the European executive. Like, it was really brutal. And to only say, "Hey, we're announcing the Snapdragon 855," and oh my God, 5G! It's not only coming; it's here. And it was brutal. It was 2 hours of my life that I'll never get back, and it was really ridiculous. And I can't stand that Qualcomm does. Like, I get it. They must have such a huge marketing budget at the end of the year. Like,
oh my God,
we gotta blow through this quick. Let's fly everyone out to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Let's get the big resort, etc. And this is happening in Maui, and this time of year, very popular destination with the tourists. So everything is expensive. Qualcomm must be spending a ton of money, and the fact that it's a 3-day freaking event, and with every YouTuber you've never heard of, it must be a blast. We don't go just because we know, we know what's up. We don't need to be there because we know that day one is nothing. Day two is where all the good stuff comes. But why do you even want to be there if you can just write it all while you're at home? And then day three is all their PC stuff. So really, the fact that you need to go there for possibly 4 to 5 days for 1 day of news, if that one post, it's just the 855 details is what we did, and it's just not worth it. That's why we don't go. If anyone was curious.
It's just kind of a weird thing. I just do not understand why. I mean, Samsung announces a new phone, a phone that takes over the world for the year, and they do that in 3 hours. I mean, they talk about it for like an hour on stage, let people play with it for a little bit, then move on. Qualcomm does this thing for 3 days. I mean, do whatever you got to do, Qualcomm.
Well, then they let you take a picture of it, and it's a little piece of plastic. Like, okay, yeah, sweet. Here we go. Get some sweet.
This is great, guys. I got a picture of 855.
Yeah, I don't get it. Just
they had some hands-on demos and stuff with their reference devices and then some 5G stuff. A lot of the stuff they wouldn't let people video or take pictures of. So there was like 5G demos on site that apparently did not go that well. We'll talk about that though. One of the announcements that came was OnePlus said that we will have one of the first phones to run the Snapdragon 855. In fact, they first said that they were going to be the first to feature the Snapdragon 855, and they've since walked that back and they said, sorry, there was like a translation issue, miscommunication, and no, we're going to be one of the first. So I'm assuming that's because Samsung went, no, we're the first. We're always the first. So
put them right back in their place.
Yeah. So OnePlus will be one of the first. They also said that when they release their new phone, possibly one with 5G, which we'll get to in a second, that it's going to be really expensive. I would imagine the 855, because of some of the improvements Qualcomm's made, it's going to be really expensive too. So if you thought phone prices were going to drop anytime soon,
That's so rude.
Nope, they're just going up and up and up and up and up. All right, so that's the Snapdragon 855. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. Like, we don't know. We haven't used a phone with it. There's only prototype. The first phone will probably be the S10. So, what's there to say? It should be good. It should be a nice little flagship processor, and we'll get to see the benchmarks, and people will go, well, it benchmarks better than Apple's Bionic, which it probably won't, but somebody will say that it did, and then somebody will cheat on a benchmark and like ramp up the performance when they're not supposed to, and we'll call them out for that, and it'll be this big thing, and then the Apple kids will show back up and say, see, you guys have to cheat. I mean, it's like it happens every year.
It's revolutions, man. Matthew McConaughey talks about this in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, nice.
It's just a big circle.
It is all a big circle. And then we'll be back in Hawaii again next year, doing it all over again.
For the 880. I'm guessing
you think 880?
For some, my gut tells me 880.
You don't think they're just going to go 865?
No, that's stupid. 880. It just has a good ring to it.
I mean, they've got, well, I guess they didn't ever do an 825, or was there an 825? Or was it 821 to 835?
821, right.
And then 45, 55. A lot of people thought they were going to change the naming scheme up. That was just going to be like the Snapdragon 8150, but that's just like an internal, that's basically like the model number of it.
I got so confused, again, if anyone was watching, when like the product manager would have said Super Dragon on stage, and I was like, Super Dragon? What are we doing here? And then he said, oh, it's 855. I was very confused.
Very confusing times.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about 5G for a minute. So 5G was the other big thing at this conference. The 855 obviously works with their Qualcomm's X50 5G modem, and 5G is, what did they say? It's not tomorrow, it's here. What
it's here.
Yeah.
Or something. It's not coming. It's here. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really. Like, AT&T technically has like a couple of 5G hotspots out there that like a hotspot device, puck device works on, is kind of about it. And then early next year, Verizon thinks they'll launch their network. And AT&T, again, they say they already done it. Sprint at some point. T-Mobile, they are, but they're not really trying to rush things. They're trying to do a little bit differently. So yeah, 5G will be here next year. There was 5G demos everywhere. Like AT&T and Verizon set up some really janky like 5G setups. Like the Moto Z3 5G Moto mod was on hand, and the demo that was supposed to be running was basically just, I think, a video on loop saying like, this is how fast you could download something if this was on 5G. Like, it's just really, really, really silly. Samsung announced a whole bunch of phones. Actually, I should say Verizon and AT&T on the first day of this event announced that they'll have a Samsung 5G phone in the first half of the year. I think, aren't we all just assuming that's the S10 with 5G? Like, we think there's going to be two models of the S10, right? One without 5G, one with... And then the next day, AT&T goes, okay, we're going to have another one, though. We'll have another Samsung 5G phone later in the year, which could be the Note 10, I'm assuming. I mean, these could be like a mid-range weird Samsung phone just to put 5G in it, which could happen. But the fact that they're announcing it, I'm just assuming that means Note 10 will have 5G, which, of course, I mean, why wouldn't it, right? So
Why wouldn't it?
So OnePlus, I mentioned earlier, they said our 5G phone, because they're going to announce a 5G phone. Who are they? They're working with some like European carrier, somebody. EE. That's right. So they're working with EE, and they'll launch a 5G phone in Europe, not here. And they said it could cost $200 to $300 more because of 5G. And what did Qualcomm's chief talking guy? What did he say? He said something like, yeah, theirs might be $200 to $300 more, but some of our other partners are going to be more reasonable. Or he said something weird like that.
He said one way that, companies can sort of put the burden on the consumer in terms of how expensive, prices, offsetting, etc. But he said he's seen more other OEMs be more aggressive on the pricing. So while OnePlus may be looking at a big price bump, other, OEMs might just kind of go for your average price or whatever, but then do something else to, to screw somebody, I guess. I mean, you can't just eat that money, it's not really.
Yeah, most of these companies aren't into just eating money. They like to get it back from us.
Yeah.
So OnePlus phones, $200, $300 more. So 6T starts at $550 right now. So we're talking at least $750 for their next phone, possibly eight. I mean, are you gonna pay $850 for a OnePlus phone?
I mean, they're already pretty darn good phones. There's no reason. I guess if they up the display to Quad HD, I really don't know what else they would have to do to make it seem like their phones aren't worth that much money, right? I mean, we already compare OnePlus phones to the best, to the Note 9, to the Pixels and all that, and it seems to stack up just fine. Maybe if the camera was a bit improved in some places, but other than that, it's a fantastic phone, I guess. But the selling point is the price, It's like the best phone you can get for the money. So if it's not that anymore, then it's just sort of, I guess they just have to rely on having a really good phone. Which it already is. That's a really weird question, and I appreciate it.
As Eddie in the chat says, they are years behind with cameras, which I would technically agree with.
I don't agree with that. I mean, at least from the post I just did, where I put it up against the Pixel and whatever. I mean, it really held its own against the best. The Mate 20 Pro. The red hydrogen one, which is arguably one of the best. No, just kidding. Can't keep a straight face.
Jokes.
But it seems fine to me. I would say that they are not years behind. That's a little. Nah, come on now. Years behind? That's a little harsh. So it's a good phone. I guess it's just not an $800 phone because people are just so used to it being cheap. You know, like if this phone was launched with no context of what OnePlus was, and they said, this is a $750 phone, they'd be like, that's not that bad. 8 gigs of RAM. I mean, it's got double the RAM as the Pixel, and that thing's $750. So, come on, people. Like, what do you expect? It's got a notification slider. This is innovation, and you pay for innovation.
It's innovation. I think what you said though is right. It's just going to be the price jump is what's going to shock everyone because you've been getting these things for so cheap that. So what scares me though is like Samsung and Google. Like, what are they going to do? You just mentioned Google's phone starts at $750, $800 or whatever, tops out at $1,000. I think the Note tops out at $1,250. Is it $1,250 for the top Note 9?
The top Note? I thought it was just $1,199, but I've never looked at the pricing of the top Note.
I think the cheapest one's $1,000, I think, and then the second one jumps up to like $1,250. So if we add, let's say they don't go the full $200, $300 that OnePlus is talking about, but if they go $150, $200, I mean, we're talking a Note for like $1,500 for a Note.
A Note that's going to have 5G, waterproofing, S Pen, ultrasonic under display fingerprint reader. It's literally going to have every spec in the world. I don't know how much you guys feel like you should spend for every spec in the world and the best experience. It's going to have the One UI, running Pi. It's never going to be updated to whatever's coming after Pi. It's going to be awesome. So.
And don't forget the new display they'll put in it with like no notch and more infinity. Like that's going to be really expensive. Yeah. It's going to be like a $1,500 Note 9 this year. No joke.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see Samsung really doing that. I see them screwing themselves with that limited edition, Galaxy Flex or Infinity Flex, whatever the hell that thing is.
That's true.
And that'll be like, a very limited $1,500, $1,600 phone, but I don't know if they can do whatever the Note is. It's got to compete with whatever that top iPhone is, and thankfully that iPhone always comes, I do believe, before the Note, or is it vice versa? Which one comes first, the Max iPhone or the Note? Because usually whatever that pricing is,
Note's usually like 2 or 3 weeks before.
Okay, I don't see it being much different from whatever the latest iPhone Max is going to be, and if those rumors are out, then I think you have an idea of what the Samsung Note will be. So it's always very kind of straightforward in terms of Samsung and Apple pricing.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch the pricing battle when it comes to 5G, because Apple is notorious for being slow at adopting stuff like that. Like how many years did it take before they adopted LTE? So there's no way we'll probably get a 5G iPhone this year. Not if it supports, because there's only be a couple of bands. Right. There's only be a couple of bands, millimeter wave and sub-6. And Apple probably isn't going to believe that's going to be worth the effort to get that ready. So it could be another year for Apple, because they don't necessarily like to always be first stuff. So
it's better not to be first. Let all these other OEMs waste their money on this tech that's not ready yet really for consumers. And we'll talk about that. But Apple's smart and playing it slow, and then they can say that they invented it and they improved it, whatever. It's a very smart play on Apple.
Especially when it comes to connectivity, because we've seen, as we saw with LTE, like the start was kind of rough. I mean, the Thunderbolt.
Ooh.
The Thunderbolt.
Well, how long ago was that, really?
That's a long time ago.
20... Oh,
had to be like 2011?
Wow,
late 2010?
And we're still hearing about 4G LTE improvements. I did a download upload test on my Pixel 3 XL yesterday, thanks to speed test on AT&T LTE. I got it was like 8 down and 0.2 up. Yeah. And I'm in my house, I get it, but damn, it's late 2018, LTE technology, the best of the best, and it sucks.
It still sucks.
Yeah. I know some people have much better experiences with their LTE phones, depending on where they live. But that isn't that the problem? Right, because where I live, LTE sucks. Right. Imagine what my place is going to be like for the next 5 years while 5G is rolling out to everybody, and I'm still going to have a crap experience.
Right, because you won't have 5G for a while.
So exactly.
I'm running a LTE speed test on Verizon in my house right now.
Oh, 3.9
down.
Ooh, that's not great.
Up, I'm getting about the same. That equal network test there, 3.6. So that's part of the thing, right? Is we're talking 5G and LTE still sucks in many places. Here's a T-Mo speed test, much faster at my house, like 63 down. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, it dropped back down to 40. Let's not get too excited.
Flosserelli in the chat says LTE in USA sucks. LTE elsewhere is much better. That's kind of what I hear. That pretty much mobile connectivity in the US is garbage, and we see that in the speed tests that Open Signal or whatever puts out every quarter, where we just get dominated by Switzerland, by Korea especially. They've been pulling a gig down for the past decade.
Yeah, the LTE kind of thing is it never lived up to any of the promises, right? It started out kind of fast, and if you're downtown in a city, and I shouldn't even say that, because oftentimes when you're downtown in a city, that there's either not enough towers or whatever, and there's too many people and it's slow there. Yeah, so the LTE and the problem with LTE is we got told for the last 2 years leading up to 5G, right? The gigabit LTE was here, and all these new LTE technologies that were going to be the backbone of 5G and help us get to 5G. Except none of us ever got gigabit LTE. Like that never actually happened. Like we just went right through that. I remember I kept waiting around looking to write the stories like gigabit LTE in these cities. Like let's play with and test it. Like it just never happened. Like that didn't. They keep like Verizon told us that you can get gig LTE in all of these places. They basically say anywhere they had LTE, you can get gig LTE. I mean, I'm in Southwest Portland. I am not far out of the city. I'm right next to an interstate too, which is like a mile away. So like you would think there'd be a tower somewhat close. No, I just ran a 4 down, 4 up speed test. That's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, Alfie in the chat says we're having a dishonest conversation unless we address the size of the country. America is large, and of course we're split up into many different states. And cities, towns, etc. But we live in a major city in the U.S. and our LTE experience sucks. That's all we're saying. And we've traveled all over. I've gone to San Francisco. I've gone to New York, and pretty much my LTE experience always sucks. So something.
Yeah, I mean, my T-Mobile experience right here at my house is not that bad. Obviously, 46 down, 12 up. That's awful.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
And I get that with T-Mobile, but Verizon anywhere in the city, just about, I don't really feel like I ever get much. And you, where you live, also in Portland, you're close to a university. You would think there would be like plenty of connectivity. No. So, Alpha, you're partially right. Close. Yes, because. Yeah. This country is massive and it's spread out, and there's a whole bunch of rural where there's not, probably a bunch of towers, and they haven't built up gig LTE and all that stuff. I totally get what you're saying, and that brings down the average. But like Tim just said, like him and I are in a city, and we only pretty much travel to cities for work. And I don't feel like the LTE experience, no matter what I'm on, is ever really, really that great. And when I travel, I always bring 2 phones, hoping that one of them will be great. And yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen like 100+ down. I'm certainly never getting 300 down. So
no, I've never seen something like that. Even my Wi-Fi doesn't get like that.
Yeah, well, mine sort of does in one room.
In one room.
This room.
In the modem room.
Yeah, in this room. So anyway, what that's kind of leading to is I kind of went on a little ranty piece yesterday about how 5G sounds like it's not really going to be that awesome, maybe for a long time. And part of the conversation there was around connectivity and how LTE never was that great, right? And it could be depending on where you are. The 5G experience should transition maybe a little bit faster because a lot of the LTE networks were built with 5G in mind, where they can kind of just flip a switch, software update, and then it'll flip over to 5G, which is kind of crazy to think that that's all that would take. Technology, it's a brilliant thing. But what I was talking about also was I'm worried about price increases and more expensive hardware, which we just talked about. Like OnePlus said, look, these phones are going to be more expensive. And part of the problem is if I'm going to pay $200 to $300 more for a phone in, say, 6 months that can barely access one carrier's 5G network because the connectivity is limited, which it will be for a while. So to back up for a second, 5G connectivity will get millimeter wave, and then we'll get sub-6. And essentially what you got there is millimeter wave is like the Wi-Fi hotspot you have in your office. Like it'll be mounted on a building, and it'll push out really, really fast connection, but it doesn't go very far. It doesn't go around buildings very well. If your like face is in the way, that could block the signal. Like if the signal's over here and my phone's here, like that could, I mean, this is what we're talking about. So that's only going to be in cities. The sub-6 will help them branch out a little bit further. That's a signal that travels farther and stuff like that. That's fine, but those are going to take a long time to push out. Whereas millimeter wave, all these carriers are going to say like, we've got 5G in Portland, and that's really only going to be probably downtown Portland, where these small cells that they've built to push this millimeter wave are going to be. And so if you buy a $300-$400 more expensive 5G phone, and I'm at my house right here, there's no way I'm probably going to be on 5G for a while. So if they're going to start selling 5G phones next year, I would tell you right now, don't even consider buying that crap. My worry, though, is that they're not going to give us the choice. It sounds like Samsung is. They're going to do a 5G version of the S10 probably, and then a non-5G one. For the next year or so, you should probably just buy the non-5G one and not spend that extra cash. But not only that, I was talking about those small cells. So the FCC recently like pushed through some new rules that is allowing carriers to push these 5G into communities and stuff like that even faster than you probably want. And they're giving limited approval times and things like that for local communities to decide, I think, just how to let them in, how much they might have to pay and things like that. And these small cells, they're going to need a lot of them. They're going to be everywhere, and communities are pushing back because they don't know that they want these things on like every light pole and all of that stuff around their community. So that's a part of the situation. I mentioned health concerns because there's some people that have already like told 5G no, they can't come in. Yeah, and look, we don't really know if there's health concerns there, but
we're not doctors. We can't comment on that.
People just probably there aren't really 5G studies because this stuff is really just being rammed down our throats before any of that can really be done. So people should probably get on that just so that we know and we can all make sure everything's safe. So yeah, 5G is like the next 2 to 3 years. It's probably not going to be cool. We're going to see price hikes, possibly in service. We know Sprint's already said they're jacking up prices. AT&T has already said we're going to nickel and dime you with who knows with all these tricky things. I would imagine Verizon will do the same, although they haven't said. T-Mobile wants us to believe prices will go down if they merge with Sprint, and I don't know that anyone actually believes that will happen. So possible service price increases, for sure more expensive hardware, because hardware is already going up each year, and then you slap 5G on it, and then just this like slow rollout of connectivity that's going to take years. I mean, T-Mobile said, yeah, we're going to start with I think they're doing 600 megahertz is what they're turning into 5G first. They're not necessarily doing millimeter wave right out the gate like everyone. I mean, they'll do some, I think. But like they said, look, ours isn't even going to be that much better than 4G to start, because this is the slow stuff that reaches far. To get the full 5G, you need all these bands working together, which like no one is confirmed or committed to at this point. They're basically just going to put hotspots in cities and that's it. So 5G, I am not at all. I think at one time I was pretty excited about it. Like, ask me again in like 3 years what I think, because right now I think it feels like we're pushing forward with something that's not even close to being ready. And someone said to me on Twitter yesterday, it's almost like they're pushing forward with this already because they failed to actually get the most out of LTE. And so they're like, well, let's go to the next thing that we can sell to people. And that's kind of what this feels like. LTE we haven't even fully realized LTE. Now we're switching to 5G. And yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit like a money grab from carriers. I know they need to make more money because that's what they do, but that's really all this feels like at this point. I don't know, sell me on the benefits of 5G. I don't know that there are like, yeah, really fast speeds. Cool.
That's it. Yeah. Well, you can attend a concert in VR or AR or whatever. Shit? Nobody. You can like go to the movies with your friends digitally, or like I don't know. I mean, you can be a ghost soldier dad, and that was like the weirdest thing too. Like they were trying to like portray what 5G will bring, and one of them was this soldier hologram dad like hovering over his child. What was that? It was so weird. Qualcomm, what are you doing? Yesterday or during the tech summit, they did not convince me why I needed 5G. They kept saying it was really cool and that it was like here, but I didn't really understand. Maybe I have a tiny brain, so then that's medical fact. So I just don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The fast stuff is fine, but again, we just talked about how they told us we had gigabit LTE in our city, and I just did a 4 down, 4 up speed test. So you told me I had fast internet already, and I don't. And now you're going to bring even supposedly faster with even less reach that's going to take years and years to build. And so I don't know. Like, I have fast Wi-Fi at home. I mean, yeah, give me a faster data connection on my phone, but what else are you doing for me? I don't really want to pay that. I don't know that I really want to pay that much more just to have faster 5G speeds. You know, like LTE, it's so funny. Yeah, they were like, LTE's here and it's really fast, and you can download a movie in like 2 minutes, and everyone goes, cool. And then they go, awesome. But here's these new things called tiered data plans where 4 gig costs like $60. Download 4 movies and let's talk.
Yeah. Like, well, no, then your speed gets capped. You know, you're throttled at some point. Like, American carriers, I don't know if it's, I can't speak to how it is in, say, Europe or Asia, but like U.S. carriers suck. They are the greediest companies in the world, maybe after the pharmaceuticals and the healthcare and insurances and all that. But
they're up there.
They're up there as terrible. And we just get nickel and dimed over every little thing. And we've never been able to truly experience the greatness of LTE because it's behind a paywall. And not everyone wants to pay hundreds of dollars every month for, full access to this LTE dream, this fantasy. And it's going to be the same for 5G, I assume. But, you've been talking a lot of smack about 5G. And while I don't know exactly all the benefits of it, I want to stay an optimist and believe that it'll be cool. Being able to have super fast speeds on my phone and all that. Like, let's say, for example, this happens to me often, especially in the travel season. Like, I'll get on the plane and I'll realize, like, oh, I didn't download a movie or something that I wanted to watch, and I'll try to start downloading it on LTE. I'll get like 5% done, and I'm like, okay, well, guess that's not happening. But if I could actually quickly download a whole movie over 5G, like in 2 minutes, which probably won't ever happen, that would be cool. Like, that's something we've been talking about for the past decade. I thought I was supposed to be able to do that, but I can't. So maybe 5G is going to bring that. So it's just one thing, but
here's the argument against that, though. It's like LTE should technically be able to do that, and it doesn't. I know 5G should do it even faster, but I will say, so Nate in the chat said, I'm looking for home internet competition with small cells in neighborhoods. I would agree with that. Like, I have one choice for internet where I live, and it's Comcast. CenturyLink is here, but where my house is located, I think we've talked about it. Like, I can't get their gig internet because they need to run a wire in the air to my house, which they just can't do. But if Verizon or somebody puts a small cell around the corner and that can beam me gig speeds, I'm cool with that. I'm actually okay with that. It gives me another choice. But on a cell phone plan, you do most of your heavy lifting at work, in your office, at home, on Wi-Fi. So if you can replace that with faster, that's awesome. But when I go to dinner, I don't know that I need gig speeds. I just want a good connection, which in very many situations they've already failed to do. So,
and as Rocky L. Brody says in the chat, CenturyLink is hot garbage. Yeah, funny.
Yeah, I just wanted their gig speed, but now Comcast just magically created gig speeds and goes, here, you can have this now. And it's like, oh, where's that been? Oh, because CenturyLink showed up and gave you a little competition. Funny how competition works like that.
Yeah. And Chris in the chat says problem with rural is that high-speed internet is worse than LTE. Yeah. That's another funny thing. Recently, going to Hawaii and going to not a very population dense area in Ocean View on Kona, the LTE, not only is the LTE really bad, but the Wi-Fi is even worse. Their Wi-Fi is it's a mess.
Yeah. So
places of this country have terrible Wi-Fi and terrible LTE and just terrible mobile connectivity in general. So we need to get these people the internet, people
have been working on that for a while, and that's another thing that's just not happening. But that's another argument against this millimeter wave technology. That doesn't do anything to rural communities, right? They need the other stuff, which is going to be probably 10 years if the investment is deemed worth it by these companies. So, which so far it hasn't been for years.
Damn. Well,
that's a brutal time. Anyway, so 5G is I'm not that excited anymore. Sick of all of it, to be honest. And we're going to CES in 3 weeks or something, or a month, and it's going to be everywhere. We always find the topic at hand. It's AI, or it was IoT a couple of years. Well, it's going to be 5G this year, which could prove for some cool demos. Because IoT was brutal. When it was the year of IoT at CES, I wanted to just leave within about 20 minutes. And then AI is also really terrible, except last year we got Google Assistant everywhere, which is fine. This year will be 5G. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe they'll do some stuff really fast. They'll put 5G in everything. Actually, they can't. It's too expensive.
Yeah, we're literally like 2 weeks away or like 3 weeks, and the demos at Qualcomm's thing where, like they had sites in the room. Apparently that sucks. So I can't imagine that CES a couple of weeks down the road is going to be any better.
That's true.
There will be some backdoor demos of like, oh my God, look, a gig down, but nothing, this sucks.
God damn, this just got really depressing all of a sudden. Should we talk about something else that's also depressing?
Oh, what?
Let's transfer over to Google and messaging. Unless there's anything else 5G you want to talk about.
No, nothing 5G I want to talk about. I think we got it all.
Okay. All right. So Google, so last week's show, right when we were on air, a report dropped that said Hangouts is dying in 2020 and you got 2019 to use it. We've now got some clarification on actually what's going on there. What was interesting is the Hangouts boss on Friday or Saturday, one of those days, like jumped on the Twitters and got really mad. Oh, he was really mad. And tried to trash. So the report about Hangouts dying came from 9 to 5 Google. They said, look, it's going away and in 2020. And this Scott Johnston, who runs messaging or communication services or something at Google, he got really mad and he called it like shoddy reporting and all this stuff. And he admitted that he's defensive because they are his products. But he confirmed kind of the story that like Hangouts, which they call Hangouts Classic internally, apparently, that it is going away, and that what they'll do though is transition everyone to Hangouts Chat, or give them the option, which is their so far just kind of G Suite enterprise kind of communication collaboration tool. So he got all mad and then pretty much just confirmed that the story was true. The story just didn't include the transition to Hangouts, which the story probably just didn't have that from their source at the time, which is fine. Stuff like that happens, but yeah, he got a little defensive. It was not a good look. Anyways, so this week they had to confirm some more stuff because it was reported that Allo was going to die fairly soon. And so they wrote like an entire blog post, the old Google did. And what they said is Hangouts will die. They don't know when. And they said when it does, though, they will give people the opportunity to use Hangouts Chat if they want to. Hopefully that's not soon, because I've used Hangouts Chats here and there, and it really does suck. As a chatting tool, it's not great. So they will eventually open that up. What they did say also is that they're going to open it up to, if you're a G Suite customer who uses chat, you'll soon be able to invite people that aren't G Suite customers to use it as well. And then after that, they'll eventually just open it up to everyone. But it's got some work.
Yeah, just like Google Plus, where there's an invite system. People love that.
Oh, invite systems. I do miss a good invite system. Somebody should bring that back. OnePlus kind of has one going on right now with their backpack. Yeah. So Hangouts is kind of still up in the air. Hangouts is still a thing. It'll be around until Google decides it won't be, and then they'll just let you move to Hangouts Chat. Reportedly, allegedly, supposedly, that's what they said. Allo, though, you guys remember that thing? It is dying, and it's dying in March, like this coming March. And Google said, look, we pulled all the talent off of it a while ago to work on Android messages. And so, yeah, Allo really is going to die. So Allo, if you're using that, you actually do have to find something else to use. And they want it to be that Android messages app. And yeah, so March 2019, Allo dies. I never use Allo. As far as messaging goes, in kind of huge news, it's just like the most underwhelming news ever. So Pixel 3 or 3XL on Verizon finally got RCS support. Official.
Okay.
And yeah.
Oh, okay. That's it?
Well, the story of RCS is like one of the most boring. It's like more boring than talking about Snapdragon processors. So RCS, you guys know, Rich Communication Services. It's the future of text messaging, basically. And Google's been trying to push this since like 2015 15, I think. And they partnered with Sprint initially, and Sprint just is like, sure, let's just enable this. And so people on Sprint have had RCS for a really long time. And everyone else decided not to do it because they want to do their own things, like T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T. They all did their own crap. And now they said, sure, we'll adopt yours, Google. It's called Universal Profile. We've talked about this a lot. Well, we've been waiting for everyone to actually enable this stuff, because apparently it's not as easy as just flipping a switch. Like, there's approvals or something. It's one of the weirdest things. Like, all of Google's phones support RCS, but on T-Mobile, if you use it there, there's the Galaxy S7, S7 Edge are the only phones that support RCS on T-Mobile, even though Google's, it's just built in. And so we saw that this week. Verizon said that the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL will now have access to RCS. And you just go, what about the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL? Like, why is this a thing that we have to roll this out one phone at a time? Anyway, they have it. And so in order to utilize RCS, which is bigger text group messages, bigger files and images sent, and little typing indicators, all that crap, right? You need to talk to somebody that also has an RCS supported phone and turned on that carrier. So if you're on Verizon, that means only Pixel 3 people. You can, though, this thing works across carriers, so you can talk to like Sprint people with RCS, but who knows a Sprint user, am I right? You could talk to Galaxy S7 owners on T-Mobile, and then AT&T, you can't talk to anybody in RCS on that. So,
damn.
Yeah, no, just crapped all over Sprint there.
Yeah, if you use Sprint, I really hope you don't watch the Droid Life Show, because we basically talk smack about you every week.
We gotta do. Apologies, Sprint people. I love you.
Yeah,
I just can't talk to you. So I have a. This is on Verizon. This Pixel 3. I haven't gotten the damn thing yet. The chat RCS type of stuff. I don't have it. Everyone else seems to have gotten it. I don't have it, so I can't talk to anyone on it anyway.
Womp womp.
Oh, Jackson in the chat says, does Google Fi have RCS? That is a big fat no. Google's own yeah, but see, here's where that gets complicated, right? They have to figure out a way to do RCS over US Cellular, Sprint, and T-Mobile, and maybe that's really hard to do. I'm not really sure, but
we're not
the combination of those three and T-Mobile's weird support for not supporting it, I don't know. So no, Project Fi does not, which seems bad. It seems like it should.
Seems dumb considering it's Google. Google's pushing. Google, come on.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back to Allo real quick.
Oh, sure.
And a quick. So I got everyone on Hangouts, and this was like years ago when it first launched. I was like, "Hey, family, my whole family, all my brothers, we're a large family." I said, "Let's all get on Hangouts." So we got on Hangouts. When Allo launched, my brother, who thinks he's a tech guy, he's pretty tech conscious.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, let's try Allo," and so we tried Allo for like a week, and I don't think anyone liked it, maybe, or something, or like it was like a pain to use because I don't know, they just didn't care for it. Anyway, so my mother, who's like almost 70 and she spends a lot of time in the sun, she posted the story, the 9 to 5 Google story, and said, "Okay, we're going to have to stop meeting this way." And then I quoted the story. I said, "Well, sometime in 2020, like, you know, this is like, plus this is only a report. This is nothing confirmed at that time." And she said, my mom said, "That gives you plenty of time to determine the next best platform. Michael failed with Allo." And like
she's talking trash about your brother.
Yeah, exactly. And then my brother said, "Yeah, sorry in my design and marketing of Allo," as if it was like really my brother's fault that Allo was like kind of trashy. And it was really funny because she doesn't know anything about tech. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really great. I love it.
Your
Bless
mom
my
talking
mother.
trash. God, Allo, what a failure. Allo was actually kind of fun to eat. Once you got in there, if you could find someone to talk to, it was like the first service that had Google Assistant, because remember, Google Assistant wasn't even on phones. It started in Allo. Yeah. So it was kind of cool. And there were stickers and fun stuff. It was impossible to get anyone to use it.
Berts are asking, why is MMS so unusable for your family, Tim? So instant messaging is the future of messaging. SMS is going to die. MMS is going to die. And plus, we have family all over the place. You know, we're up in Oregon. We got family in California. My sister lives in Germany. So we're so disconnected that an IM platform is really the best for us. So, and we don't have iPhones. So if we all had iPhones, we'd all just iMessage, which is really like that would be the saving grace. But no iMessage. Remember when we were supposed to get iMessage for Android? That was like a big story back in the day. iMessage coming for Android.
About that.
That's never happening.
Before this goes away, Bert dropped $2 in the chat. Says really like the show and thanks. Thanks, Bert. Thanks for the $2.
Dab on, Bert. Dab on.
Yeah, the MMS thing is kind of a weird thing. Like most of the people I talk to, I'm like you, right? They're on Hangouts. But then there's this other sort of like I just took a trip with some family, and like my brother and dad and I talk on Hangouts, but all these other people have iPhones, and so they just send text messages, right? Because they probably just use iMessage. So I had to use Google Voice like the whole weekend to send messages, and it totally works fine. Like Google Voice is actually not a bad messaging platform anymore. My guess is that when Hangouts dies, I'll probably just start using text messages through Google Voice, which sounds really boring. I want to use something new and cool, but I can't use Android messages because I use a Google Voice phone number. So that kind of eliminates that for me.
ASL. In chat, hashtag ASL, bring it back. Age, sex, location, dude. I used to run Yahoo Messenger and the AOL chat rooms. ASL. Freshman in high school. Man. Good times. I'm pretty sure every female you talk to was probably a male. And
100%.
Yeah, there was no females on AOL.
Yeah. I definitely used ICQ a lot. Love that. But I was a Yahoo Messenger guy too. I never did use AOL. AOL to me is like the WhatsApp of now. Like it was an East Coast thing or something. It definitely wasn't in Montana. Like our WhatsApp, everyone uses it over there and not over here. That was like what AOL was to me. I used Yahoo Messenger.
Riggs makes a good point that it could have been Chris Hansen. Yeah, I mean, Chris Hansen is basically every person you talk to on the internet. So watch what you say, please. And one of my favorite shows, if you don't know, To Catch a Predator. Oh, goodness gracious. Fantastic program.
I've never actually watched it. I probably should. One of these days, I probably should.
It's a good one.
I'm really bad about catching up on. I'm really bad about catching up on old shows. Like when people say like, "This is really great," I'm like, "Oh well, I just feel left out now, so I don't really want to catch up."
Yeah, he brought it back. I forget like what the name of it was when he brought it back, but it was good and like a lot more detailed in terms of the planning and what happens afterwards and stuff. It was good. Have a seat. Yeah, exactly. So, good stuff.
That's funny. So yeah, that's kind of Google's messaging platform experience now. We have Android Messages, which is now actually just called Messages, and Duo. Those are kind of consumer. If you want to do the video chats, you get on the Duo, and if you want to do the messaging, you do it on Messages. And someday you'll have advanced RCS messaging through Messages, but who knows when. And then we have Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meet, which are kind of the more corporate-y G Suite versions. I think that's it. Are we down to just those 4? Well, no, we still have Hangouts for a little bit.
Yeah. And that's it.
Google. At least Google's trying to dial it in. All right, so you want to talk about that wrist candy?
Oh, that wrist candy, lols. Yeah, would love to talk about it. So, as you all know, LG Watch W7 was announced, October? Early October?
Yeah, with the V40.
Yeah, alongside the V40. And so here it is. I'm trying to turn on the screen. I've got a little watch face going. You can't see it. Either way.
With the watch face on, it looks kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. I decked it out in some color and stuff. Anyway, so as you know, the big deal is that it's a hybrid. And they want to emphasize timepiece. This is an actual timepiece with mechanical hands.
Yes.
Not a bad looking device. It actually kind of reminds me of the tags that we were seeing not too long ago. Those $1,200 smartwatches. Not as bulky. I don't know the case specs or diameters. I have all that later. I'm going to be doing a full overview video later today. But so it's, the hardware is pretty good. The issue is the mechanical hands, the thing that really kind of separates it from any other digital smartwatch. when a notification comes in, I'll just try and show you. So say you've got a notification and then you've got those hands blocking text. There it is. Yep, hands blocking the text. So what you can do, you can long press on this button up here in the top, and it'll move those hands and bring whatever's in the middle of the screen up. And depending on what time it is, will determine where the hands go in terms of getting out of the way. Sometimes they'll go to 9:15, they'll go to 6:30. It really just depends on what time it is, and it's really funky. You know, but it's not the worst thing ever. I've been using it now for about like 5 hours in total, not including last night when I was sleeping. Of course, I don't wear it when I'm sleeping. So the other thing,
well, yeah, because that thing can't sleep track or anything.
It doesn't do
like
anything.
That.
Yeah, there's no. So that's the thing. This thing cost $450 at launch.
It's back up now. I'm looking at it. It's back up now.
Serious?
I'm looking at it right now at Best Buy. It's back up to $450.
That's not good. Okay, so
yeah.
That was like going to be my thing. Like, if you want this device, it's only $250, but no. So don't buy this.
Yeah.
So it's back to $450. It has no GPS. It has no NFC. It's got no heart rate monitor. This thing, it basically is like a dumb watch. And so sure, you can get some notifications on it. It has access to Google Assistant, but it's not a smart buy in terms of, being a hybrid timepiece. Like, it doesn't make much sense because it's not fitness focused. I don't know really what it's focused on.
I don't know either.
But I've only had it for a short amount of time, so I'll continue to use it. It comes with like these kind of janky. I mean, it feels okay. It's just a rubber strap. I'm gonna throw a NATO on here. Pretty sure it's 22 millimeters, so it's a pretty standard strap size. It's not a bad looking timepiece. Of course, it's got your little digital crown, whatever Google's calling that for Wear OS. Not bad, but not great. And I have a feeling
with
that
the screen on, like how you just showed it when you had the screen on, it actually looks kind of nice because it's got the hands. And didn't they make a whole bunch of watch faces for it so you can kind of go wild? There's a ton of
watch faces. Yeah, I was hoping I could just show you a different, like a different color to sort of bring out the watch hands. I don't know, maybe that'll, if it focuses. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the hands, not really.
It's not bad looking. But one of the things they're pushing is that if you turn the screen off, oh, that's right, they have like their own custom like launcher. You're showing the launcher right now. What is that?
It's not terrible. You control it with the crown. It's not bad. But you can't
do that because of the hands.
Exactly, and this isn't touch. So like, say you have all this space up here and you can't touch it. You have to touch the little circle to open up whatever app it is that you're doing. Like. And they built in a whole bunch of things called master tools. So, with the hands, they act as a compass, a stopwatch, calibration, barometer, altimeter, a timer, and the mechanical hands actually move these features. Which is, it looks cool, but oh man. So for $450, you could get a nice Hamilton mechanical. You could get an automatic Hamilton for $450. You can get a Seiko 007 diver for $199, another automatic. There's just a lot of choices in the timepiece world that I would recommend every time over this.
Because it seems like the push is just to have it be a watch and a smartwatch second, right? Smartwatch or a watch first. Because part of the thing they're saying is like this thing can last like 100 days if you turn the screen off and just use the. But that's the thing is with the screen off. And it's just black. It looks terrible.
It looks really bad. Yep.
So it is one of my favorite products released in a long time, and not in a good way.
It just wasn't well thought out. Here, I got the screen black. I'm gonna try and show it to you. So that's all you get when it's off. It's off.
Yeah, and it's still keeping the time, but it
keeps the time. But
that just doesn't look that great. It's a weird product. I mean, like beyond the fact that it's running the old Snapdragon Wear 2100 and the battery is only like 240 milliamp hour, right? because they had to
It's a
pack a
small
mechanical
battery.
movement in there. So
Yeah, LG discusses, of course, you know, the why they use the 2100 versus 3100. This watch was apparently in development for years, and they didn't want to change components too far down the road. You know, they wanted to make sure that what they were doing was a well thought out device, and everything worked well. And thanks the mark. But
crazy. It's just crazy.
yeah,
Well, at least
and
they tried
what
something
we-
different.
Exactly. What we know now with the 3100 and its coprocessor is that it wouldn't benefit this device
Probably
exactly because it has those mechanical hands. They just turn the display off anyway in an ambient mode.
Right.
So, and there's no reason for a sport mode because this thing doesn't have anything.
Right.
So it's fine that it has the 2100. The problem is that it's $450. I thought it was $250. Apparently that changed in the last 24 hours because I thought I looked recently, but
Well, yeah, they dropped it for Black Friday, and it was that price for a good 2 weeks. But
while.
it's I just looked, it's back up.
that sucks.
Well, that should be a fun review.
Yeah, yeah, I'll
Video
probably
or whatever you're gonna do.
yeah, I'll just have the review up next week, and I'm gonna try and do a video today on it, do a big old overview. I know there's thousands, maybe even tens of people interested in checking this watch out, so we'll do it. I'll do it.
I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah. Kellen seems bored when Tim talks. Man, that's
That's just rude.
a boring subject.
I'm definitely not bored. I love listening to stuff like, especially about like that product, because it is hilarious.
Yeah. Riggs is asking if Tim recommends it. Yes. 100%. Yes. Go on Amazon. Just type in Hamilton Mechanical. And then if you're feeling frisky, Hamilton Mechanical Automatic. And, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Funny stuff. All right. Wow, we ended up talking a long time about some of this stuff. Should we do trivia? Wrap this. It's like an hour and 15 minute show now. Actually, we started a little late, but all right. So, Jet. Oh, trivia dance. A little trivia dance. Almost forgot that. There's them lights. I should
Get
have
your
lights
hand to leave.
soon too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So it's trivia time. DL Show trivia. For those of you guys watching live, you probably know how this works. If you're new, though, we do trivia at the end of every show. We have 5 questions. Simple questions. You provide an answer in the chat. If you're first, you win fabulous prizes. And this week's prizes are brought to you by Tautronics. We've got 5 active noise canceling Bluetooth headphones, the over-ear kind. Tim swears by them. And yeah, you have a chance to win a pair. So shout out Tautronics for the fabulous prizes.
I love these things.
5 questions. 5 questions, 5 winners. By the way, yeah, you answer as fast as you can. We'll put the question up. We'll read it. You answer if you're first. We'll let you know if you're first, and you win. And then we'll get you prizes and all that stuff lined up. So, yeah.
Yes. I love giving away stuff.
I do too. It is one of my favorite
All right.
things.
Well, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's just go ahead, kick it off with question number 1, please.
All right, question number 1 going up now.
What percentage of performance boost does the Snapdragon 855 have over the Snapdragon 845? Just looking for the that performance percentage that we mentioned earlier in the show. I see Chris Waddell
Yep.
with the correct answer of 45. Correct. 45% performance increase, they say. You know, I don't know who's doing that testing, not me. Over from the 845 to the 855. So, Chris Waddell, congratulations.
Yep. Chris with the 45.
He's a winner.
Some other you got 45s too, but he was first on our screen with the 45%.
Yes, plenty of correct answers in the chat I'm seeing, but Chris Waddell was the quickest. He's got that low latency.
Got that low latency.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
sweet.
really DL trivia. I'll just say it. It's a lot like Call of Duty. You know, if you're on a low latency, a good connection, you're gonna have a good time. If you're on that bad connection, if you're not host, you're gonna have a bad time. So, but good luck.
That's correct.
Oh, question number 2, please.
Oh yeah, question number 2 going up now.
What does RCS stand for? Again, what does RCS stand for?
Who's got them quick fingers?
People got to type for that.
Scott, that's
so
tough.
I know I gotta take the whole thing because I did not. Yep. So Rich Communication Services. Sorry, I could have I could have accepted some abbreviated stuff. I didn't want to because, you know, I'm thinking Adi Krishna.
Adi Krishna has the full type out.
I gotta go with the full type out on this one.
I'm kind of feeling you on that. I feel like you kind of gotta type that one all out. Calm.
Sorry, it's already abbreviated, right? You know, RCS is already abbreviated. I'm going with Rich Communication Services, Adi Krishna. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You're the winner. And shout out to Scott and Han. They both obviously have, I don't want to say obviously have the right answer because it's just Rich Comms. And Rich Con system isn't even correct. Yeah, so Scott Washington, I'm sorry, man. Can't do it this time.
Sorry, Scott.
Can't do it.
I know our rules change often, but I'm with Tim on this one. We wanted the full thing there.
I should have said, you know, in the question,
abbreviation.
Yeah, I could have said it when I'm reading that out. So, hey, you know, it's all good. Scott, that means you still got 3 chances to win a sweet active noise canceling Bluetooth headphone from Tautronics. So here we go. Question number 3, please.
All right, question number 3 going up now.
What year did Google Talk, the original OG Google Chat app, launch?
Oh boy.
Again, what year did Google Talk, the OG Google Chat app, launch?
This one actually surprised me.
Yeah, you got to go back for this one.
Oh boy.
This was before Android was even a thing.
I see one from Nick Fisher. Let's see.
I'm looking.
I think Nick Fisher's got it. 2005.
2005 is the correct answer.
I think Nick Fisher has the first 2005.
Wow. I'm still like scrolling through. You guys.
Sorry, we're checking. This one took a minute. Yeah.
Yep. I wanted to triple check. We take this very seriously when we have legit prizes. Nick Fisher, congratulations. Correct answer of 2005. Way
That's
back
so long ago. I can't believe it's that long. I guess I remember using it a long time ago, but man, I'm old.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Congrats, Nick. 2005.
Congratulations. And you know, typically we'll double check after the show. I always go back, make sure, but we go by what Kellen and I see in terms of who answered first. So that's just how we're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go with question number 4, please.
All right, question number 4 up now.
What UK carrier is partnering with OnePlus to launch one of the first 5G phones?
Mm-hmm.
Again, what UK carrier is partnering with OnePlus to launch one of the first 5G phones? Not the first, one of the first. I'm seeing Rocky L. Brody.
Got it, Rocky.
Rocky
with the EE.
Brody. Correct answer of EE. Congratulations. I can't spell it today. Rocky L. Brody. Nice, man. Congratulations. Proud of you guys.
Oh, Nick Fisher wins and drops a $10 dono. Says, got to get back. Appreciate that, Nick.
Woot woot. You do not need to pay to win. This is not a pay to win game.
Need to pay to win.
But thank you very much.
There's no
Nick.
pay to play here. But thanks, Nick.
I mean, yeah. Either way, the FCC might be after us for that one, but that's all right.
That's funny.
And the FTC. Okay, let's kick number 5. Let's finish it off. Let's get her going.
Okay, question number 5 up now.
In what Canadian city was Huawei's CFO recently arrested? In what Canadian city was Huawei's CFO recently arrested? And I just don't. It's too early to butcher
Meng
names.
Wanzhou, I'm going with.
Sure, that works.
Yeah.
Meng Wanzhou. Rashad Gaddis. Nice. Rashad Gaddis with the correct answer of Vancouver, Canada.
Had the coup.
Not the coup.
Eli like a quarter second after Rashad, I think. But on our screen,
Yep.
Rashad is first.
Yep.
The coup. Is it really in Vancouver? I have not looked. I just assumed everything happens in Toronto, but.
Yeah, no, it was the coup.
Nice.
Man. Nice. Congratulations, Rashad. I know he's won before.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love giving back. I love giving back.
That quickness. Well, that went fast. All right, that was 5 questions. 5 Tautronics active noise canceling Bluetooth headphones.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Those are good prizes.
I'm not going to forget this week. Tim is going to put his email in the chat below. You winners, please email me. We will confirm your identities, and we will have your prizes out to you in an expeditious manner as possible.
Yes, we will. On a related note, before you go, you might want to tune in next week too. We think we got something special cooked up. I think we teased it last week, didn't we? We said we got it already. We got something working. I think we're close. We're really close.
Gosh, we're just gonna keep teasing them, huh?
We are just gonna keep teasing them. It might be a good pre-Christmas show. That's for sure. It might really be. Yeah.
So you're saying do not miss the next podcast?
I don't think you should miss. Yeah, I don't think you should miss the next one.
Okay.
And I don't even know if we're gonna hype it that much, to be honest. I feel like all the like regular OGs deserve this one by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those things like if we tell the world, like people show up. Yeah, we'll have a huge podcast, but I don't know that I want to do that. I feel like we really need to give back to all the homies.
Dang. You know okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Whatever you guys got to do for the next show to get the best internet you can, to get on that 5G connection, find your cell site near you, and make sure you got a good one for that. So.
Oh, is it going to be early again? I think next week should just be a normal show. Should be right around 11 a.m., noon, p.m. Pacific, right around there.
Yeah, I already told Kellen I'm not doing these 9 a.m. Pacific shows anymore.
Yeah,
that doesn't work for me. Yeah.
No, it'll probably just be 5 questions, Han Solo. But you never know. We could change it up a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what the numbers are looking like before next Friday. I'll explain that next Friday when we get there. Next show should be normal. Probably around normal time, 11 noon. I don't think there's anything weird going on this week. There just is. So
go watch that Avengers trailer while you're at it.
Oh, yeah. I did watch that. Good time.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I think that's it. It's Droid Life Show episode 191. We'll see you next week. Peace.